Namaste. It is Monday, March 21st. Happy first day of spring from sub-freezing Maryland. 25 degrees, but clear. Feeling optimistic. I think it was the fact that it is the first day of spring that got me out today. So here I am. It's been a windy March, no wind today. So I started my day out pretty good. Had a decent night's sleep. As I was walking on the trail, I ran into my son leaving for work because he lives along my walking route, and that always makes me happy. And I'm back to work after a 4-day weekend. I took my personal holidays over St. Patrick's Day. It was just a mental health thing. I think the last time I posted was really about my job and some of the complaints, some of the concerns I have. Well, the job hasn't gotten any better. Do they ever? Do they ever? I'm gonna try to change my hands. Ooh. Okay. I mean, does the job ever get any better? Maybe some do, but my company is just kind of, there was talk last week again about how shorthanded we are, and we can't have more than one person out on a day, and PTO blackouts coming up, and then the state of Maryland just ruled PTO is not a part of your salary, and that the employer can take it away. So that's terrifying to me, because that's what I love about my job, is they give me a decent amount of paid time off. So, but I feel better. I feel better. I think the lesson this weekend, for various reasons, not just my job, but for other things in life we do, I think there comes a time as we age, maybe more so for women. I don't know. I've spent my life going along to get along, maybe a little, I'd like to say rebellious, maybe a little out of the box, not necessarily the mainstream. However, I always go along to get along. I've done no harm. I've done my best. And son is in the way. So I think at this point in my life, I do have to speak up. I don't tolerate injustice well. That's why I've been going through such an emotional roller coaster since 2016. Actually, since my marriage, but that's another story, to my first husband. And I think there comes a time where you do have to speak your truth, and you have to, I want to say live your truth, but I'm kind of leaning more towards saying defend your truth, accept it to yourself. Sometimes, in order to speak your truth and to do what's right, it's hard. And it's especially hard if you have to say something, do something, report something, call someone out when they start doing harm. Whether it's harm to you, harm to others, harm to marginalized people. But when people start doing harm, I think that we do have to call them out. There is a huge wave of complicity, frozen face. People are complicit, and it causes more harm, because sometimes when you don't speak up, it's like an approval. It's like you condone something. And this has been me. When I see something that I disagree with, and I'm not just talking. I mean, of course, I am talking about things that affect you personally, affect me personally, but also greater things that affect more people. But I've often found, like many, to be somewhat complicit. I guess you would call that the path of least resistance. To not always speak up, just so the hammer doesn't come down on you. In my job, and honestly, I'm not going to tell you the truth. Am I going to speak up? Likely no. I know that there's nothing I can do with corporate culture. There's nothing my supervisor can do. So am I going to speak up about some of the things that they're doing to us? Probably not. However, there are bigger picture issues going on that I know we've been dealing with, my husband and I, with our housing journey, and seeing things like illegal rentals and dangerous conditions and people, landlords, get away with it, where they're making a lot of money off of unregistered rentals. In Maryland, they have to be registered. And when the rental's unregistered, it's usually because it doesn't meet code. There's dangerous things. There's lead paint. Of course, in Maryland, that is an issue, especially in my area, a historic area. A lot of houses, a lot of places have lead paint. They have asbestos and a lot of things, stairs and outdoor structures and things like that, over time fall into disrepair and become very unsafe. And I know we're dealing with some issues. School bus. Where these landlords, again, are making more money, because they're not getting the inspections, they're not making the repairs, and people are paying rent for unsafe housing. Well, my husband, being in the business of building, inspecting, and property ownership and renting, he's very diligent. All of his rentals are, he is certified lead-free. He has a home that was built in 1943, and another one where he has completely done all the mitigation necessary, where he got the lead-free certification. Obviously no dangerous materials. He keeps everything up to code. And I know this past summer, he invested probably close to $20,000 in rental property, only two rental properties, to make them safe to rent. And these were not things that he had to do. The lead certification, everything already had been done. But things like, deteriorating concrete stair, things like that. All these things that are necessary to make a safe home. That was weird. And so I think one of the issues we've been dealing with is my husband, one of the reasons why we were literally run out on a rail in Baltimore was because my husband was a builder in a very depressed area, and he made sure everything was up to code. And there were other builders in the neighborhood who got stop work orders because they didn't have permits and they weren't up to code. And they believed it was his fault that they got the stop work orders, because he would have people come and inspect his property. And when the city came in and saw the other builders, they didn't have permits and they got shut down. So we were attacked over that. And now we're in another situation, similar one. Good morning. Where we know of a chain of illegal rentals that are not up to code, and families with small children are renting them. So what does one do? My husband is stressed, and a little stress on me. But this just goes to show you, in this world, we deal with these issues every day. We deal with them in the workplace. We deal with them in housing. We deal with them, I work in education. It gets hard and it wears you down. So, but today I'm out. There's sun. It's the first day of spring. I'm overall feeling pretty good. I'm going back to work somewhat refreshed. And I'm going to do my best to do no harm. And I'm going to do my best to not be complicit, do no harm, and to help others. Help others. But in order to do that, there's an element of hardening up, so that when backlash comes, and it always does, you have to be prepared. You need to be prepared for the backlash. So that's where I am. That's where my husband is doing our best not to be complicit, to help others, to serve others, and to accept the fact, my lips are frozen, that there will be backlash. Hopefully it won't be violent backlash like we experienced last year, but there will be backlash. So we just literally have to HTFU. So that's my thought for today. Happy spring. Please be true to yourself. Be true to your values. Do no harm. And maybe in doing so, you just have to HTFU. Thank you for listening. Peace, my friends.